we had the release of Assassin's Creed Shadows yesterday. And, it started, interestingly enough, with a patch on the very first day. There had been a ton of backlash from the people of Japan, from the Japanese government, about how disrespectful they were, including to shrines and things like that throughout this. Ubisoft never publicly addressed this, but they quietly roll out a patch on day one that prevents you from doing a lot of damage to these shrines that are sacred to the Japanese people, that the Japanese people were standing up there in their government complaining about and ready to take action about. That's pretty interesting, isn't it? But no, we do have, it came out yesterday, Jay, and the numbers, gotta say, not all that impressive. I expect a lot higher. I think Ubisoft expect a lot higher. A lot of people expected much higher than we saw. Assassin's Creed Shadows flops on Steam launch day, fails to break into the top 30 games as access media sites heap critical praise. And it's true what we saw yesterday. Now, I imagine, this is from, a couple hours ago, I think it's going to peak higher than it did, and I think it'll peak a little higher on a Saturday. That's typically what we see from these new releases. But as we're looking right now, with 41,000 on the first day peaking on Steam, we don't know about PlayStation. We don't know about Xbox. We don't know about console numbers specifically. Man, it feels like it might have a peak similar to something like Dragon Age The Veilguard, which came out not that long ago. And this is something that Ubisoft has admitted they need to sell. They need to sell probably 15 million copies. That's the realm at which it needs to sell for them to consider it a success, for a biggest success as this company needs. If you're looking at something like it needs to sell similar to Assassin's Creed Valhalla, maybe a little bit more than Odyssey, something in that nature. And we saw yesterday a lot of the problems, despite this thing being, having 3,000 people working on this game. The credits roll for 2 hours after this game is over. 2 hours worth of credits for this game. That's how bloated and ridiculous and expensive it is. But apparently 3,000 people working on the game is not enough to prevent some of the bugs that Ubisoft is famous for. I saw Vera Dark playing the other day. Here's what she experienced. Not polished like they wanted it to be, apparently.
That's okay.
What?
That dude's just going to be falling forever, apparently. But, even that fall probably isn't quite as long as this fall, Jay. They were very excited. Hey, we fixed our transversal system and it's not going to be buggy anymore. We're going to have no problems with rooftops. That's why we delayed this game a couple extra months. Here you go. Just wait.
Wow. Wow, she's just oh, how did that even
getting
happen?
flung a couple 100 miles, No big deal. But I mean, the combat's what we're really worried about, Jay, right? And some of these sick moves Yasuke can do and behead Asian people. I'm sure this is working perfect.
Dude, what the hell? Dude's walking around without a head. What the hell?
Yeah, that might happen in real life.
This guy don't give a fuck. What is going on?
How much are they selling this game for? How much?
It's like a polished game. I don't know what everyone's complaining about. I mean, why would Ubisoft, Jay, you tell me, why would Ubisoft have to hide, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of replies on basically every fucking tweet they put out about this shit?
Don't they realize that hiding the replies brings way more attention to the hidden replies if they just let it go? They just gotta let it. I mean, what the heck? I don't get it, man. Like, do they not know that? Everyone goes immediately to the hidden replies.
If I see them, I'm going there.
Yeah,
'Cause
exactly.
it means that's
like,
where the best replies are actually at, typically.
Of course.
We'll see what happens throughout the rest of this weekend, of launch weekend. And it's not necessarily fair to compare a single player game like this to, say, some of the big multiplayer games that are out there that get a lot more player base. I think it should be compared to single player games. This is all we had to go on. Ubisoft didn't used to release things on Steam, period. Now they do. So now we have this as a data point. I expect it in the 60, 70,000 range, probably when it peaks over the weekend. That's probably when we'll see the highest numbers over this weekend. And that's on par with Dragon Age the Veilguard, which was just a miserable failure for BioWare.
Yeah.
I think more people probably playing Assassin's Creed Shadows on console than people that played Dragon Age Veilguard on console, but we don't have hard numbers about that either. We just know that this has to be one of the best-selling Assassin's Creed in history to even have a possibility of saving this company. So we'll see what happens.
I think years down the road, we will look back when people do these video vlogs on if people are like, hey, Dad, what was DEI and what was that all about? They'll go right to this game and go, here you go, son. And this is why it failed. This is why it failed.